Hello everyone and welcome to my Y&R Insider 24 update channel. Victoria's flight to Los Angeles and Claire's startling discovery. According to The Young and the Restless spoilers, Victoria Newman will travel to Los Angeles and discover something shocking there. Obviously, Claire Newman will also find this to be a source of anxiety. What will happen to shake up everything in LA? LA is home to several key players. Several of Y&R's key players are in LA right now and more drama is certainly to come their way. Noah Newman has found himself in an accident and is in bandages on a ventilator. Although Mariah Copeland, Cameron Grimes, called for her mother to come to her in Boston. Nick Newman and Sharon Newman are also present. Claire will stop by the hospital to check in with Sharon and offer her support. Victoria will fly to Los Angeles herself after deciding that Nick could also use some help. Victoria checks on Kyle to make sure everything is all right. However, Victoria is growing very concerned about Claire and will make the trip to check on her daughter. Victoria's shocking LA encounter and Claire's alarming revelation. The Young and the Restless spoilers and updates tease that Victoria Newman is about to uncover something shocking in LA. Her flight is bound to conclude with a surprising twist involving Claire Newman, so let's dive into the intensifying drama. Claire supports Sharon. Victoria arrives in Los Angeles. The drama is intensifying in Los Angeles as several pivotal Y&R characters have already arrived, including the unfortunate Noah Newman, Lucas Adams, who remains in a coma after a car accident. Claire is set to visit the hospital shortly to offer support to Sharon Newman, Sharon Case, ensuring she fulfills her role in the Newman family. However, Victoria will ultimately decide to appear in Los Angeles as well. She might have made this choice because she wanted to be there for Noah, who was sick, and Nick Newman, who was played by Joshua Morrow. However, her concerns about Claire may be her primary motivation. The longer Claire's in LA, the more worried Victoria will become. Victoria will become more concerned about her daughter's so-called journey and the uncertain destination it may lead her to the longer Claire stays in Los Angeles. Victoria is deeply concerned about Claire potentially becoming too impulsive and hastily diving into a relationship with Holden Novak, Nathan Owens, before she is truly prepared for it. While Victoria is aware that Holden possesses a certain charm, her trust in him is quite limited. This is especially significant in light of the numerous doubts expressed about his character by Kyle Abbott, Michael Mealer, and Nate Hastings, Sean Dominic. Naturally, Claire has taken on the role of Little Miss Independent in recent times and might not take kindly to Victoria's attempts to keep a watchful eye over her. Claire may resent her mother's hovering, especially if she interrupts a crucial romantic moment. This is especially true if Victoria is about to ruin the fun that Holden and Claire are having. One can easily picture a scenario where Victoria stumbles upon Holden and Claire sharing a very intimate moment. It might be a kiss in that patio area that fans have been talking about, or perhaps something even more risque in Claire's suite. Regardless of the skeptics and Holden's peculiar connection to Sienna Bacall, Claire might choose to disregard any warning signs that arise in her mind. Holden has shown kindness to Claire and supported her during the difficult time of Cole Howard's passing, which has led to a bond she is unlikely to sever anytime soon. Claire's stubborn streak may push her to escalate things with Holden. As Kyle attempts once more to reveal his dubious character, Claire's determined nature may cause her to escalate the situation with Holden. This could pave the way for Victoria's startling revelation in LA if she stumbles upon Claire and Holden during an intimate moment, whether it's a kiss or something even more intense. When Victoria's plane lands, it will undoubtedly raise additional alarms even if she simply observes Holden and Claire as appearing excessively cozy. Regardless of how the situation unfolds, The Young and the Restless spoilers indicate that Victoria's journey to Los Angeles will be filled with unexpected twists. Catch up on everything that is going on right now with Y&R. Come back here often for The Young and the Restless spoilers, news, and updates. Claire Newman's journey become concerning. Victoria is concerned about the amount of time that Claire spends in LA just as well as who she is spending time with. Holden Novak spending so much time with her daughter certainly worries Victoria. Especially after speaking with Nate Hastings and Kyle Abbott, Victoria does not trust Holden. Victoria is about to break up their fun, which could lead to her walking in on an intimate moment in Claire's room. Holden is clearly linked to Sienna Bacall, who appears to be bad news. Claire won't want to get involved in any of this with Victoria. But that doesn't mean Claire will pay attention to her mother. Holden Novak has been there for Claire Newman. When her father passed away, Holden was the one who comforted Claire. Claire is very beholden to him for this and isn't going to just turn her back on him. Claire might decide to turn things up a notch with Kyle present, especially with Kyle offering his perspective. Could this force Claire to sleep in Holden's bed? Victoria may become extremely upset if she observes Claire and Holden transcending their friendship. Will Claire and Holden's fictitious trip to Los Angeles be derailed by Victoria? If Claire learns something she shouldn't about Noah's accident, could she become a victim when someone related to the accident comes after her or Sienna? The skies over Genoa City were clear that morning, but Victoria Newman's mind was clouded with unease. Her nephew Noah Newman was clinging to life in a hospital bed, his face pale beneath layers of bandages, and his breath was assisted by a ventilator. The news from Los Angeles had been troubling. The accident had completely shaken the Newman family. Victoria was concerned not only about Noah's condition but also about the strange energy around her daughter Claire. Victoria's maternal instincts had been telling her that something wasn't right ever since Claire flew to Los Angeles to support Sharon and Nick. Sharon's call had been brief and upsetting. She had said, her voice cracking, "He's stable, but it's touch and go. Nick's been here day and night. Claire has been very helpful." Those words, meant to reassure, only deepened Victoria's worry. Claire had always been the tough girl who hid her heart behind layers of determination. However, that resolve had been faltering recently. The grief from losing her father, Cole Howard, had changed her. Victoria sensed the restlessness beneath her daughter's calm exterior, a dangerous vulnerability that could lead her into trouble. Therefore, Victoria did not just book her flight to Los Angeles to check on Noah or support Nick. It was to ensure that her daughter did not drift into waters that were too deep for her to navigate on her own. In Los Angeles, tension grows. Meanwhile, Los Angeles was teeming with its own brand of chaos. At Memorial Hospital, the halls buzzed with activity as Sharon Newman kept vigil by her son's bedside. The beeping of monitors had become her grim lullaby, while Nick paced the corridors like a man possessed, unable to rest until Noah opened his eyes. Claire had made herself useful, fetching coffee, offering quiet words of reassurance, helping Sharon manage calls from worried friends and family back in Genoa City. To anyone watching, she appeared composed and in control. But beneath that calm surface, Claire was unraveling. The weight of grief, anxiety, and exhaustion was becoming too much. Holden Novak's decision to further involve himself in her life at this very moment was not helping matters. He had been her rock after her father's passing, charming, sympathetic, always ready with a comforting smile or a gentle touch on her arm. Holden's presence, while reassuring, was also perplexing. Claire's pulse sped up and her better judgment faltered because there was something intoxicating about him. Holden had flown to Los Angeles under the guise of business, but Claire was clearly his true motivation. His attentiveness was flattering, his confidence magnetic. He seemed to understand her pain in ways no one else could, or so she believed. But not everyone shared that sentiment. Both Kyle Abbott and Nate Hastings had voiced their doubts about Holden, questioning his motives and hinting that his charm was little more than a facade. Claire had brushed off their warnings as jealousy or overprotectiveness. She didn't want to believe that someone who had shown her kindness could have an ulterior motive. Yet deep down, she knew that Holden was a man of secrets. Victoria arrives in LA. When Victoria's plane touched down at LAX, she felt an odd mixture of relief and dread. The warm California air did little to soothe her nerves. As she drove toward the hospital, her mind raced through every possible scenario, from Noah's uncertain recovery to Claire's growing attachment to Holden. Sharon greeted her upon arrival, looking worn out but managing a fleeting smile. "I'm so glad you're here," Sharon said softly, hugging her old friend. "Nick's with Noah right now. It's been hard." Victoria nodded. "How's Claire holding up?" "She's been amazing," Sharon replied, her eyes softening. "But I can tell she's bottling things up. She's been spending a lot of time with that young man, Holden Novak, I think his name is." That name sent a chill down Victoria's spine. "Holden," she repeated, masking her alarm. "I've heard. Mixed things about him. Sharon sighed. He seems kind enough. However, there is something about him that makes Nick feel uneasy, and I can tell. You know how protective he is of Claire. Victoria murmured, I know, even though she actually shared Nick's anxiety. Claire's conflict. Claire watched Noah's chest gently rise and fall beneath the hospital blankets that evening as she stood by his bedside. Before entering the hallway, where Holden was waiting, she silently prayed. You shouldn't be here so late, she told him, though her tone lacked conviction. Holden smiled that disarming smile of his. I couldn't sleep knowing you were here alone. In addition, you appear to require a distraction. Claire sighed, torn between gratitude and discomfort. You don't have to take care of me, Holden. He said in a soft, low voice, maybe I want to. You've been through so much. You need someone to make you feel seen after losing your father and worrying about your cousin. His words struck a chord deep within her. For a moment, she let her guard down. However, before she could respond, her mother's message landed safely buzzed through her phone. On my way to see you soon. Her heart skipped. Victoria was in the area. Holden noticed how she was acting. Your mom? He asked, his smile slightly waning. She replied quietly, yes. She's here in LA. He replied, that's great, though his tone suggested annoyance. Guess that means my time with you is about to get cut short. Claire frowned. Don't start, Holden. She's just worried. He said it again, his jaw tightening, worried. She doesn't trust me, I ask. Can you blame her? Claire retaliated. She's my mother. She's protective. Holden's expression softened, though his eyes held a flicker of something darker. I get it. Claire, on the other hand, resist her control. You're not a little girl anymore. The tension between them was electric, an unspoken mix of attraction, defiance, and danger. The impressive meeting Victoria didn't expect to find her daughter's door slightly ajar when she finally got to the hotel where Claire was staying. Inside, low, intimate voices floated. Victoria hesitated before knocking, but curiosity got the better of her. She pushed the door open just enough to see Holden and Claire standing close together on the balcony, the moonlight casting them in a silvery glow. They were holding hands. Too closely for comfort. Claire, Victoria said sharply, stepping into the room. Both turned, startled. Claire's face flushed crimson while Holden quickly released her hand. Mom, she stammered. What are you doing here? I could ask you the same thing, Victoria replied, her voice cool but trembling slightly. You said you were staying near the hospital. We came here to talk, Claire explained defensively. It's been a long day. Victoria's eyes darted between them. Talk? Is that what we're calling it now? Holden made a mock surrender by raising his hands. Ms. Newman, I think there's been a misunderstanding. I doubt that. Victoria cut him off. I know your type, Mr. Novak. You jump in when someone is weak, act like the hero, and then vanish once you have what you want. Claire's tears filled her eyes. Stop it. You don't know him. I know enough, Victoria said, her tone hardening. And I won't sit by while you get into something careless, she added. Holden's jaw tightened. With all due respect, Victoria, Claire doesn't need your permission to live her life. Victoria's glare could have frozen steel. Get out, she said coldly. Now. For a moment, it seemed Holden might argue, but then he nodded, brushing past her with a faint smirk. He murmured to Claire, we'll finish this conversation later, before he left. As the door shut, the silence between mother and daughter was deafening. Mother and daughter. Why do you always do this? Claire demanded, her voice trembling with fury. You barge in and treat me like a child every time I try to make my own choices. Because you keep making choices that could destroy you, Victoria shot back. Holden Novak is not who you believe him to be. I was warned about him by Nate and Kyle. I don't care what they said. Claire cried. He's been there for me when no one else was. When Dad died, when everything fell apart, he was the one who stayed. Victoria's rage subsided. Sweetheart, I know you're hurting. But leaning on the wrong person won't heal you. With tears streaming down her cheeks, Claire turned away. You don't understand. You never do. Victoria stepped closer, her tone gentler now. Maybe not. But I know what it's like to fall for someone who isn't what they seem. Please prevent history from happening again. For a long moment, neither spoke. They appeared to be separated by an insurmountable gap. But beneath the pain, there was love, fierce, unyielding, and desperate to protect. Darker shades later that night, Victoria sat alone in her hotel room, replaying the confrontation in her mind. Something about Holden's reaction had bothered her, the way his eyes had flashed when she mentioned Kyle and Nate, the subtle menace in his tone when he left. She couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to him than met the eye. Determined to find out the truth, she made a few calls. Within a matter of hours, she learned that Sienna Bacall, a notoriously manipulative and deceitful individual, had once been associated with Holden Novak. Holden had quietly vanished from the public eye around the same time that rumors that Sienna was connected to a series of questionable business dealings surfaced. Victoria's heart sank. She'd been right to distrust him. But how could she convince Claire without driving her further away? In the meantime, Holden encountered a shadowy figure in a dimly lit bar somewhere else in the city. She's starting to suspect, he said quietly. The woman across from him smiled, Sienna Bacall herself. She cried, let her. By the time Victoria figures out what's really happening, it'll be too late. Unsettling discoveries. The following morning, Claire returned to the hospital, trying to focus on Noah's recovery. But she couldn't shake the argument with her mother or the guilt gnawing at her. When she reached the lobby, she overheard two nurses whispering about a visitor, a woman asking questions about Holden Novak's involvement in Noah's accident. Claire froze. Was Holden somehow connected to Noah's crash? The thought made her blood run cold. She hurried out of the hospital, heart pounding, and called Holden. No answer. She returned to her hotel room in a state of panic, only to find the door open once more. Inside, her belongings were strewn across the floor, as if someone had been searching for something. A note was also on the table. One word, scrawled in hurried handwriting, leave. Claire's breath hitched. She knew immediately that something was terribly wrong. The truth comes crashing down. Victoria arrived minutes later, alerted by a call from the hotel manager. When she saw the mess, her fears were confirmed. Claire was in danger. Together, they put the little they knew together. Holden's relationship with Sienna. The whispers about Noah's accident. The note that advised Claire to leave the city. Victoria said with a sour tone, this isn't just about romance. Holden's involved in something bigger and we're in the middle of it. Claire's hands shook. Do you think he had something to do with Noah's accident? Victoria was hesitant. I don't know. But until we find out, we can't trust anyone.